Self-love is the new sexy, the podcast devoted to helping you overcome life's most painful and stubborn challenges so you can feel great, have more energy, and live stress-free every day. To reach your full potential, simply work with the powerful spiritual principles that are readily accessible to everyone. It's easier than you think, and on today's show, W. Mark Watts is going to show you how starting with self-love is the key to joyously and harmoniously making that happen.
Hey everybody, this is W. Mark Watts. Welcome and thank you for hanging out with me for another episode of Self-Love is the New Sexy. Today's episode is entitled, Stay Ready to Bounce Back. Stay ready to bounce back. Now, why is that important? That is super important because in our lifetime, there are going to be numerous obstacles, numerous challenges, numerous events that can alter, sway, persuade the way that we act and behave. And they may be detrimental, or they may be conducive to what we're trying to accomplish in our lives. And we can either hinder our progress or we can help our progress. And we have to be aware of that. So the one way, or the main way, the key ingredient to continuing on that path that you choose for yourself is to stay ready regardless of what comes your way. Now, if you're like me and you've lived any number of years on this planet, you have encountered various obstacles, some small, some big. I mean, I could go down a laundry list. In fact, I'll just give you a few examples just so you know kind of where I come from. You know, I come from a place where, I've been laid off from employment several times. I've been in a place where I couldn't find work, full-time work, where I had to work 2 part-time jobs just to make a income just to pay my rent. I've had a car repossessed. My mom passed away 28 years ago. And today that I'm recording this podcast episode is actually Mother's Day. And there are some Mother's Days are easy, and then there are some that are tough. I've been struggling today. So again, that's why this topic is top of mind. Stay ready to bounce back. Come from a place where my dad wasn't around, wasn't in me and my sister's lives growing up. So I've been divorced. I've been in a long-term relationship where I thought that was going to be it. And she left that relationship and that ended abruptly. So I've been through numerous turns and twists in my life, as I know that you listening to this podcast have as well. And that's why it's so important that you stay ready to bounce back, because these types of things are going to happen in our life. That's just a fact of it. That's the price of admission. In fact, I can't remember where I read this today or saw this, but it was basically saying that's how we learn. That's where we do our best learning, is when things go wrong. Things are tough. And I would tend to agree. I mean, of course, would I like to have not gone through some of the things that I've been through in my life? Absolutely not. However, what I have learned about myself, though, is when I get in those situations, when those things happen to me, I do a huge amount of learning and growth. And I have to really dig deep and have to decide, who am I going to be in this moment? And what am I going to do going forward? And in each circumstance, in each instance, I've been able to bounce back because I am unwilling to let up. I am unwilling to stop. I am unwilling to give in to any circumstance in my life. I am committed to playing all out. And so that's my invitation to you when I say stay ready to bounce back, in that I want you to really think that regardless of where you are right here in this moment, where you might find yourself 5 months from now, where you might find yourself 3 years from now, where you might find yourself 10 years from now, adopt a mentality that, hey, anything can happen to me, to my family. However, I am going to see this thing through to the best of my ability. And that's all you can do. All you can do is give everything that you have in the moment. Give everything you have to the moment. See, that's what I think sometimes people get confused about. And even myself, at times, I can lose focus and start to look back or look in the future too far ahead. When if I understand how important this very moment is and me being present and giving every ounce of energy and focus I can to this moment, to this challenge, to this molehill, to this circumstance, when I bear in and give it every possible thing I can, thought-wise, energy-wise, just sitting with it, researching it, taking action, that's what life is about. It's being in that moment when you're with your kids, when you're with that someone special, if you're at work, if you're looking for work, if you're recovering from a serious ailment, if you're removed from a marriage that you were a part of, if you've lost someone near and dear to you, as I did 28 years ago. What do you do in those moments? And one thing that I always remind myself of is when things hit me hard, I oftentimes remind myself is, hey, you're not the only one that's going through this. You're not the only one that's been through this. And there are people in this world right now who are going through much worse. So I try and put it into a different perspective. I try and shine a different light on it so that helps me refocus is when I put a different light on it, because I don't have time for pity party. And yes, there are times when I get sad. Absolutely. There are times when I shed tears. There are times when I wish that, again, I didn't have to go through some of the things that I go through. And I realize, again, that when I look around and if I really think about it, people would give their life to be in some of the situations that me and you are in. So I always use that as my backdrop. And I say, okay, this is not as bad as I'm making it out to be. And as long as I've got breath in my body and strength in my bones and the energy, and either I can get the information I need or I know someone who can help me with that information, I'm going to figure this thing out and I'm going to move forward and I'm going to be ready. I'm preparing myself so that I can move through this thing regardless of whatever it is. I can deal with it. I can manage it. I can grow from it. And in hopes that I can help someone else, because that was put on my heart several years back, is that, you think that you've gone through these things for no reason. But the universe told me you've gone through these things because other people will go through these things in the future. And I need people around who can help them get through these things, who can help raise the vibration on this planet, who can give a listening ear, or who can be that strong shoulder that they can lean on, or who can point them in the right direction when things are tough and the night is long and it's raining outside and the roof is leaking and the car's broken down, the job goes away, the husband or wife goes away, kids having trouble with drugs. I'm going to need some people around who have been through some things and come through them so that other people can look to them and understand that they understand what they're going through and that they're going to be there with them while they deal with it and encourage them and love them through these things. And at first, when I got that message, I was like, wow, are you serious? You know, that's not who I intended to be. Oh, I didn't know that's what I was going to be doing. And, Grandma's saying is, God laughs at you when you make plans. Now, I didn't really know what my plans were. And so I find myself in this place. And so I do my very best in the moment to honor God, source, the universe, divine, whatever you choose to call it, by sharing my story and being there and being that ear or that shoulder or that encourager to those who choose to listen and choose to reach out. So I'm going to end on that note. I encourage you really just to stay ready because things are going to happen. That's what life is. It's just a series of events. And then the beautiful thing is, how do we respond to those things? That's what's sweet, is that you get an opportunity to respond. It is incumbent upon you to do so. And respond, I know you will. So I'm going to end here. Thank you, as always, for hanging out with me. I so much treasure our time together. And for those of you who reach out, I enjoy even more connecting with you and sharing that space and that time with you and that trust. So stay tuned. I look forward to speaking with you all again very soon. Stay ready. Things are going to happen, but I know you can handle it. Talk to you all again soon. Bye now.
You've been listening to Self-Love is the New Sexy with W. Mark Watts. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Also, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you listen to podcasts.